Alright, about to start. I just need grab my phone. Alright, there it is. On the floor. Okay. I'm your host, Crafty Andy. Music. Host Crafty Andy. Check me out on all those channels you see there below. Crafty Arts and Weird Source. Check my Twitter if you want to see finished artwork there. I haven't gotten a website together yet. But just continue on and doing the background of this shit. While this world burns around us. This whole show is about environmentalism and, you know, fighting for freedom and all that stuff. In the real world, all that's falling apart. It's hot as hell everywhere, almost. Fucking water main breaks in Texas recently. Can't get that shit fixed. Companies want to frack in our town right now. And because they can't, they're just going to increase our gas prices. Good stuff.
So, the dwarves are polluting the place? They other dwarves until just recently when they went from being adamantly against slavery to helping the slaver.
Let's see what we got. See what's going on in the world today. Alright, yeah, what is Swedengate? Tell us all about it, Ethan.
There's one more thing, since we're going this long, I'll just bring it up. Was this Sweden food meme, love, that I wanted to ask you about. People were joking about that Swedish hospitality is horrible. It all stemmed from this one Reddit post where someone described they were over their Swedish friend's house and dinner was ready, and they asked him to stay in their room while they ate. And that sounds pretty nuts to an American. But
yeah.
I saw some people saying that's normal.
Well, first of all, I wouldn't say it's normal by any means. I kind of talked to my friends and even my parents about it, and it seems to be more a generational thing. It happened more in the past, because personally, it never happened to myself.
Sounds like something rooted in starvation.
But I can kind of see that it being a thing in like Swedish society and stuff like that. But you gotta remember, looking like into another kind of culture through the lens of another.
Alright, let's see how many times this is going to crash this time.
It's very weird. So I don't know. Sweden is a very individualistic country.
Had like 5
have very little
video files that just up and stopped working.
You can kind of say feeding a guest is a social pressure because they expect to be feeded. In Sweden,
Feeded?
You don't really expect to be feeded. You don't or fed. You don't expect to get things. It's like way less.
Whatever.
It's way easier.
I'm going to watch this later. Yeah, I think we're out of Sonic games finally. Ooh. I guess we're just back to music. At least that won't give me a copyright strike. I like just playing the fucking show without audio in the background. Whatever. Alright. What are we doing from right to left? Add and some leaves here. Details. And leaves. Top of leaves. It was like, what the fuck, Sonic? What's that? I never seen the lady. Just better get the fan going. It's getting cold. I mean, hot in here. Wow. Alright, really thick, bushy trees. That's what we got. Turn on, camera. You know what's going on. Don't fucking crash on me. I'm gonna have to be diligent and check this like every 2 minutes. Make sure it's not freezing up. Small little details of trees here. You don't want to make them too detailed because they can take away from the whole thing. So little branches here and there. Wish I had more fucking time to do videos. God fucking damn it. So many stories I like to share, so many ideas and writings I've done. I have like pages of scripts that are just sitting on my fucking computer. With essays and commentaries I love to make. Part of me just thinks they're gonna fucking rot. Because I'd be stuck in this fucking rat race. Make enough money to get, you know, fit food and everything. I'm glad I started doing this instead of doing the gaming thing. Just tempted to do Alan Wake's American Nightmare. Fuck me, man. I'm better off here right now. I think if I was playing that, I'd just be thinking about all the projects I could be getting done instead right now. Get to relax once in a while, but goddamn. Sometimes I just want to turn it on and not turn it off. It's hard because you got a full-time job on top of all this, right? So it's like that's set up. It's almost by design. That's set up to make you want to curl up and quiet yourself after you get off of work. Like, oh, I don't want to do work after I just get off of work. It's insane. What are you, crazy? Oh, I want to sit around and play video games. Hey, Hope, are you good? You good? You recording that? Start a new video file. Let's just start one every like few minutes or so to keep up with this so it doesn't lock up on me. Alright, let's get a thicker marker for this big trunk here. It's like ripped apart. And a dead tree that fell over. Just a little frustrated. That's all I am right now. Just a little frustrated to where I am. This Saturday for once. I just want a long ass art stream, for fuck's sakes. Just want a long art stream where I can get an 8-hour, 10-hour art stream. So I can make some progress. Maybe even start painting this weekend. Said I want to do that last weekend. I want to get this done with last weekend, but then I, you know, got distracted, I guess. I mean, I'm like, just take a break, play some video games instead. And that's what I did. It's becoming a bad habit every fucking weekend. I don't want to make this tree trunk any thicker. I'm gonna try to avoid it. I don't think I can though. Alright, how you hanging in there? Good. Get all these ideas whenever I see certain things. Like I had a series called Open Letters where I make commentaries, but in open letter form, writing out a letter and writing out my thoughts on a paper. I guess it's kind of close to what I've been doing with the art channel right now. It's just, you know, having artwork over it instead of words being written out. I'd like to do more of that. Yeah, the problem is, like, it seemed like every time I did a shorter video, it just took away progress on the bigger projects like this one. Some areas be thicker than others and darker than others. Yeah, let's get some bark in there. Right. Even like right now though, I am getting kind of pumped up doing this. Like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do the recording. I can't wait to do all the editing for the commentary on this. Because it's not just about describing what we're making here, or just making it, hey Heather. It's also about telling the story of my personal experiences with Sonic the Hedgehog. I guess in one sense, the long plays of the games playing right there, it kind of can show someone how much you can get done in the time it takes you to play one of these video games. Like, part of me too, and like if I have like an hour, or just like an hour, a half hour to spare, and like I just use that to just watch a video or something, I just end up kicking myself. Like, why the fuck did you do that? And it's a bad habit. Getting distracted by the fucking internet. I've noticed a lot of YouTubers I watch don't tend to watch a lot of YouTube. So I'm taking that to note. At least. To make the effort to get the fuck out of those habits. I am thinking about taking Adderall, though. I should probably schedule an appointment with the doctor, get a physical done. Just fucking do it, see what it does to me. It's not like it's gonna kill me. It might. Maybe it will. Man, that'd suck. Die before I get my children's book finished and all that shit. That's why I refuse to do any motorcycling or anything that could put my life in danger, really. I mean, anything can put your life in danger, but, you know, some things more so than others. I don't want to increase those chances at all. I want to keep those chances as minimum as possible so I can get as much done as possible. And I know all my works are going to fade over time. be forgotten, but I don't care. It's a personal achievement to get it all done. Yeah, this little fucking knot hole here, it's gonna be very dark. Very dark in here. I'm just gonna... I don't know if I just want it strict black, so I'm just gonna cross hatch that in there. Because I want just a big black hole there. When I get close to finishing all this and the video and stuff, I definitely want to get in touch with the people behind Sonic Season 3. Oh god, phone, stop vibrating, you're annoying me. Yeah, what's going on in our Discord chat? There's only one Discord chat I ever have alerts for, and so one my friend runs. Horny... What is it? Horny Jailer Alliance? Horny Jail Alliance? Alright. Alright, what's next here? Let's continue on. I've noticed a lot of Twitter handles no longer have the Ukraine flag on there anymore. Glad I never participated in that shit. This whole Russia-Ukraine conflict has made me aware of one thing. That nation states shouldn't fucking exist. I'm tired of these inept leaders, these fucking vampires, mummies, ghouls, sending people off to die, deciding how you should live, when you should die, how you should die. Making decisions that, in the end, if they're bad decisions, they don't affect them at all, they'll be fine. Like, no matter what fucking happens, Vladimir Putin is going to be fine. You know, he'll still be getting fed every day. He's still going to have guards by his side. Same thing with, I don't know, I keep forgetting the fucking Ukraine leader. I don't care anymore. The US is dropping all these fucking weapons in Ukraine. And all that's going to happen is that these white nationalists that are there, they're probably going to start a fucking coup. Or maybe not even a coup. It'll probably be one of these slow death things where the social climate changes over time as they recruit more members and convince them that all the blacks and queers are making their country shit. Alright, grass. Big blades of grass. I guess I don't know how tall they are. Like a few feet. I think Sonic's like what, 4 feet? This little guy, I could like put him over my shoulder. It'd be adorable. All right. We're on the worst level in that fucking game. At least the most anxiety-inducing. I came very close to losing that, man. 0 lives, 1 life, 0 reigns, last level, no continues. It's pretty bad. Whoops. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, this Ukraine shit. So what's probably going to happen is that after all this is all done, which probably, and it might, could be 10 years from now, it'll be all done. Maybe Ukraine will give part of its peninsula, whatever the fuck Russia wants. I like Paul's Eagle suggestion where it's just, you know, just give them that fucking peninsula, whatever, and negotiate whatever it has to be. No, one thing that bothers me is that Ukraine, from what I've heard, and I need to look into it more probably, they've been pretty progressive as far as like LGBT rights and things like that. Russia definitely is not. People in Russia will just fucking kill you. So I kind of wonder, are they going to be less progressive in that area after all this is said and done and all these Nazis get all these fucking weapons? Do they just not give a shit? At least they don't give a shit right now when it comes to gay people. As far as these white nationalists are concerned. No, I gotta look into this. Look into it on the side here. When do you think the war will end? Technically, we have never ended any wars yet for like the last 40 years. But okay, so specifically Ukraine and Russia, probably another 20 years. Now I wouldn't say 20, maybe 5. Because that shit's going on while everyone else is kind of like moving on with their own shit right now, right? While these people, these progressives, lefties, fellow lefties, not really talking much about it right now anymore. Moving on to other things. 5 million people left that country. Like 5 million people left Ukraine, evacuated. I think it's just going to be a decades-long crisis, at the very least. Just to be fair. It's probably going to be a decades-long crisis. They're going to probably negotiate some land for Russia. Russia will take it. There'll probably be some insurgencies, and they'll keep constantly fighting these like terrorist attacks that happen every now and then. Those who are still like separatists and don't want to be a part of Russia. The white nationalist movement over there is probably going to get worse. Any minorities over there are probably going to have a shittier time as they get more power and they get more weapons. So if you're black, probably shouldn't be in Ukraine anymore. Probably just need to figure out how to get refugee status and get the fuck out if you can. I'll tell you why. Ukraine had the largest white nationalist festival. Not like a concert, not like a one-day concert. A festival of white nationalists. And I'm going to look that up right now. Let's look into that real quick. Oh, I wasn't recording that. Okay. We'll get back to the long plays in a bit. Ukraine White Nationalist Festival.
On the way to spend a Saturday, watching the blood sports at a festival for far-right extremists. This was the summer of 2019, and I'd gone to Ukraine to learn more about these groups.
2019.
In the crowds, one thing seemed pretty clear about them. They weren't bothered by the fact that this event was organized by the Azov movement, a far-right group that has increasingly been linked to violence around the world.
The shooter is linked to a 74-page manifesto filled with white supremacist rhetoric.
This is so
FBI
fucked.
agents say he expressed a desire to travel to Ukraine to fight with a far-right paramilitary group.
At least one member of an American hate group also trained in Ukraine, with Azov Battalion.
Fuck nation states, fuck Ukraine, fuck Russia. Fuck them both. Fuck them all.
According to the FBI, domestic terrorists killed 39 people in fiscal
And that doesn't mean
2019, making it the most deadly year for domestic terrorism
And it doesn't mean that, you know, people in Ukraine can't defend themselves.
since the
Or
19...
shouldn't. That's up to them as far as, like, how far you want to go. I guess it comes down to, like, are you willing to lay down your life for your little plot of land, whatever it is? And is the alternative to that just that unacceptable? Because, I mean, if the alternative is just, like, they come over and you let them in, they just kill you, well, fuck. Yeah, I guess you got nothing to lose then. And, you know, and a lot of this is so easy for me or anyone else to say because we're not there. We're not there in the fucking country. So in that respect, I wouldn't say I'm not in any position to tell them to do anything. And there's no moral side to this either. There's no superior moral side for being on Russia or Ukraine or America or whatever. America is still allied with Saudi Arabia, who's doing a genocide in Yemen. Starving people, starving children, killing men, women, and children over there. Weapons are still being given over to Israel for free as they kill Palestinians. Palestinians who do want to kill them, but who, it's a doom cycle, you know? You kick a dog enough times, the dog bites someone else even, and a dog attacks someone else. Like, well, whose fault is that ultimately? Who made the dog the way it is? You know, and not that Palestinians are like dogs. It's just that when you violate the people of a country for so long, what do you think's going to happen? You think like you're going to have a generation of people growing up who just want to lick your boots? The unfortunate fact is like in Israel, there's a lot of people in Palestine who just want to live out their lives. But there's like these Zionists over there. They'll have people come in, just take their homes. Like, oh yeah, my ancestors used to live here, so now this home is mine. It'd be like, unfortunately, as shitty as it is, but it would be like if like Native Americans were just brought in to my house and just like, oh yeah, my ancestors used to live here, it's mine now. This is mine. Get out. Move. Not that there shouldn't be some accommodations for natives in any way. It's just the idea of like forcibly removing a people out of their land that they're living in for generations at this point, for some superstitious religious purposes. In this case, when it comes to Israel, it's just insane. And they wonder why there's so much violence. Let's learn more about Ukraine here, though. I'm curious.
1995 Oklahoma City bombing.
The threat of white nationalism has evolved since Oklahoma City, where a domestic terrorist used a truck bomb to kill at least 168 people. Police don't tend to see such terrorists as lone wolves acting in isolation anymore. It's become clear to law enforcement that these attackers often have links to a global network.
Has it?
One with common goals and a shared ideology.
Doesn't seem like it sometimes. Like they figured it out.
Sister neo-Nazis here connecting through social media online with like-minded individuals overseas, and in some cases actually traveling overseas to train.
Over the last few years, experts in violent extremism have grown especially alarmed about the Azov movement. The group emerged from the revolution that swept across Ukraine in 2014, and it has gotten a lot stronger amid the ongoing war with pro-Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. The fighting in that region has become kind of ideal breeding ground for militias like Azov. At their public events, one thing that surprised me was how many Ukrainians tend to see Azov not as militants or extremists, but as war heroes. In Kiev, the capital, I watched an Independence Day parade where veterans...
Okay, well this tells me it right here. LGBT people in Ukraine face legal challenges not experienced by straight people. It is legal, but prevailing social attitudes are often intolerant, and households headed by same-sex couples are not eligible for any of the same legal protections and recognition available to opposite-sex couples. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, blah, blah, blah. Yep, okay. Yep, many LGBT people in Ukraine report feeling the need to lie about their true sexual orientation, so not even that front. Yeah, I guess maybe they're not as actively out there killing them, but whatever. If you're a kid, you can't get a break. You can't get a fucking break. And this is the other thing that makes it hard for me to like even do shit like this. I just want to do something that's enjoyable. This is it right here. Doing the fucking Sonic the Hedgehog shit right now and talking about the show and everything. But with like, because I'm bisexual and because I'm in a gay relationship and a poly-gay relationship, there's like all these things I don't have to pay attention to it. I could just let the world roll over me. But there's all this shit that goes on, and it just makes me like take a second guess at it. Like, oh, should I really be enjoying myself right now, or should I be focused on all the horrible shit that's going on? I guess this is like one thing I have to get out of my mind, because I've always wanted to do like a story of Sonic and friends and everything, and I had like I spent a year doing a whole story arc I wanted to do for these characters. Now I'm just going to use that story arc for something original, but and it doesn't change the fact I spent all this time doing it because I was that hungry and desperate for something good story-wise for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise of all things. Kind of like how my friend Frederick did Star Fox in Space, and I'm guessing his mindset was kind of similar. Like he just wanted to see something worthwhile done with the premise of Star Fox and everything, and he has it in his mind of like how Fox, McCloud, and Wolf is and everything. And he made those characters his own. It's great. I'm looking forward to seeing episode 2, even if it's just 10 minutes. I'm hoping that he starts moving on to like things he really wants to do. I know he has some like original ideas he wants to go into. I don't fucking care. I'll if you know, maybe I'll join up with him if I can. Draw up some shit. I'm not expecting any payment. I'm just gonna do it whenever I can, however I can. If that comes down to it. Because after I get this done and get some of these personal videos done, I got a Ratchet and Clank commission I gotta do too. Anyways, let's learn more about Nazis in Ukraine.
Alongside other volunteer militias, surrounded by cheering crowds, who thanked them for defending Ukraine against Russia.
Oh, there goes my crash. There's the crash notice on the GoPro, because I paid attention.
The symbols on their flags have been especially controversial. Azov says it combines the letters I and N for idea of nation. But extremism experts see it as a...
What's hilarious is that you have all these Nazis in Russia too. So you got two groups of fucking these white nationalists who have their own ideas of things, ultimately pushing back against each other. And the ones that are willing to fight for the country in Ukraine right now, they're not all Nazis, obviously, but ultimately, who's going to be more inclined to try to like change the attitudes of the nation and everything? Part of the reason this seemed to happen too is because Ukraine's leader was not pro-Russia at all. The last one was. This one definitely was not, and did not want to give up any land to Putin. It's just so fucked. I just gotta take a second and appreciate what we have here, because right now, at least 5 million people out of Ukraine do not. Oh, the 5 million and plus anyone else who's still there. There's no fucking way they're like sitting at ease. They might be going about their days in some area, in a lot of areas, you know, getting the food and everything, and going their jobs, but for a whole swath of them, they can't do any of the shit we're doing right now, that I'm doing right now. Kidding me? Then again, I don't know. I'm just picturing like if there's like Russians on American soil or whatever. I think the only thing I would do is probably buy a few more guns. We'd still probably be going to work. Unless they invade Ohio or whatever, right? If they're like in Florida or some other state and there's a bunch of fighting down there, for the vast majority of people not in those states, I imagine life would just still be going on like usual until one day they're there. I think part of it's not because they don't give a shit, but because like we just feel like it's out of our hands, and it's like, what are we gonna do? You know, are we gonna run a refugee to Canada? Maybe there'll come a day where we have to. If enough crazy right-wing Christians get into power in this country, yeah, they plan on rolling back my marriage. They don't just recriminalizing which will allow the states to just recriminalize homosexuality. I might start finding some rocks through our windows here. Cops tend to not help out any queer people either, so we wouldn't be able to count on them. Here talking.
The official symbol of Azov. It's a version of Wolfsangel. It was one of the...
Dalen has an AR-15. I was talking like if there was a foreign nation that invaded us, that'd be like the only thing I'd do is just buy a few more guns, and we probably would all probably just go about our day like normal until they invade Ohio or something. I have to admit, I'm not very inclined to defend a nation who doesn't give a shit about me, you know? Even if I'm straight, even if you're straight, technically the nation doesn't really give a shit about you unless you're like part of the ruling class, corporation, elites. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks the idea of having to uproot our lives and everything, but I don't know if I'd be very inclined to just join the armed forces and fight back whatever invading force is coming in. Probably just leave. Like, well, that's America. You know, maybe we should have the maybe we should eliminate the idea of borders in these nation states and all this other stupid shit that we got going on. It doesn't mean fucking anything. In the grand scheme of things, like who fucking cares? Well, oh, China. Oh, China's got a bunch of weapons, and you know the dictator there is a piece of shit. That's great. What does it all mean? What is it all for? We're all on fucking planet Earth. We got the one planet that's practically, well, it's already burning. What am I saying? It's burning all over the fucking place every fucking year. Those forest fires. I don't think the universe and nature gives a shit how powerful Russia and China is in terms of like political influence, or America. It's not gonna mean much if the air is not breathable anymore for people. You can't grow any more food. That'll probably be the fucking great equalizer right there. Once you can't go to the store and get your food anymore. Holy shit. That would be where chaos reigns. And I wouldn't like it to be around for it because usually when that happens, superstitious God believers are the ones that end up getting really violent. And generally people start reaching out for any kind of like supernatural idea of why things are the way they are. Look at Uganda. Or some of these other poor African nations where they still have witch trials. Like, they literally put people on trial for witchcraft. In Uganda, if you're gay, they'll just murder you. They'll put your name in the paper, and the citizens will do the rest. Eventually, you'll get killed. You'll get murdered outright. And the reason is because some Christians went over there, convinced them that the reason why their country's so poor, and that there's so much poverty and so little of opportunity, is because of the evils of the world. Not because of some political arrangement or their leaders taking advantage of them and employers taking advantage of them. No, it's immigrants and gay people. They're easy to blame. They're easy to point to. And say these are the problems. It's the leftists. Their ideas of socialism, even though we've never been implemented in this country at all. They're the reason why it's all shit. This makes no fucking sense. And god damn it, GoPro, would you fucking work? Stupid fucker. Alrighty, where was I? He's trying to grow a mustache? Hey, just let it grow it out for a while, shave it, it'll come back in it'll come back in thick. Yeah, this is like with my beard. My mustache and beard. My first mustache and beard was just like patchy and thin and like a cat could have taken that thing off. The cop stash. And I just hope wherever Dalen gets him a part of, he doesn't have to like deal with. Hope he just finds a department where he doesn't have to deal with a lot of corruption, because all those bigger departments and cities and stuff, full of fucking bullshit. The good cops are the ones that usually end up having to resign.
Symbols of one of SS division during the World War II. It is one of more or less usual symbols for neo-Nazi groups all over the world.
And it's not just about their symbols. When it was founded in 2014, Azov drew many of its commanders and recruits from Ukraine's most notorious far-right groups, including outright neo-Nazis.
We basically recruited everyone who could hold weapons in their hand when Ukrainian state was paralyzed and the defense of Ukrainian state was totally in the hand of Ukrainian volunteers. So there were many.
Yeah, what's funny too is that in 2009-ish, I think it was, Crimea was taken by Russia and no one batted a fucking eye. Like, where was all the rhetoric and outrage over that? Didn't seem like there was much in response to that in comparison to all this.
Guys who believe that they are on kind of ideological tool to save maybe the future of the West and so on and so forth. So
the future of the white race.
Or yes.
Azov's paramilitary wing is now a major fighting force, with its own bases and training grounds near the front lines of the war against the pro-Russian forces. After the Veterans Parade in Kiev, I interviewed Andrei Biletsky, who founded the Azov movement in 2014.
Воинское братство — это люди, которые не просто служили вместе, а вместе проливали кровь, переживали гибель товарищей, сладость побед, охраны общественного порядка на улице. Мы создаем отряды самообороны, которые помогают поддерживать порядок на улице.
Azov's leaders have also tried to break into politics. They failed to win any seats in parliament during the most recent elections in 2019, but their plans in Ukraine are ambitious.
I'm gonna deal with this shit for the rest of my life. The brotherhood of our nation, yay!
What worries officials in the West is Azov.
And this is how it usually works too, right? Like the Proud Boys over here and all these other white nationalists, they don't give a shit if you're gay. For the most part, as long as you're on their side. So, if they get their way though, just like with the Nazis, you know, if they get their way enough, eventually they'll just come after you next. Alright, we got our nation ethno-state. Now what? Oh, yeah, let's expel these queers. They don't follow our traditional values. But I was on your side. Haha, yes you were. And here's your reward. Boot to the head.
It's tried hard to build friendships with far-right groups around the world, especially in the US and Europe. During my visit in 2019, I spent a day at one of the biggest recruitment events in Azov's history. Thousands of people showed up for a day of fighting sports and blatant propaganda. There were neo-Nazi symbols, tattoos, and posters all over the place. And many in the crowd seemed pretty receptive to Azov's far-right ideology.
Бути толерантним про ЛГБТшникам – це не природне. Для цього треба людині промити мозки. Поважати своїх батьків, любити своїх дітей, пишатися за свою країну – це нормально.
Events like this also tend to attract recruits from abroad. One of the ones I met was named Robin, who had just arrived in Ukraine from Sweden, where he told me he's wanted for hate crimes.
This is so hard to explain the surroundings for someone who's watching this, you know. It's surreal. It's like, I don't know, it's like something you read about
on Reddit.
Germany before, you know, in the 1920s. It's a revival of the Indo-European soul.
Shut up,
it's
man.
All happening here in Ukraine.
Afterward, we rode back to the Azov base in northern Kyiv, where Azov commanders had
I gotta share this. I gotta share this video.
And we will rise again. That's the way of.
This is what, 2021? This is before this whole shit happened? Oh boy. You know what? Yeah, let's refresh this. Let's put this on fucking Twitter.
Having Twitch, YT, Discord, and Twitter. And Instagram. That he will use only some names.
It seemed like an odd way to spend a Saturday, watching the blood sports at a festival for far-right extremists. This was the summer of 2019.
Let's see some of the comments. People are trying to catch on to this shit now. That the idea of supporting Ukraine blindly is probably not as good of an idea as that people thought. There's like whole pictures. There's a bunch of pictures of soldiers there carrying the fucking Black Sun Nazi symbols and all that shit.
Why was it not a good idea?
Because of shit like this. So the U.S. is dumping weapons on Ukraine right now, and these are the people that are getting them.
That's a way of life, you know. And after the war in Germany, we went back to the benches, school benches. But now we will rise again.
Are they neo-Nazis as an organization? No. Have they had neo-Nazis in their organization? I would say look at the U.S. Army, and you would find neo-Nazis as well.
Dave is an American expat and U.S. military veteran who's volunteered to help Ukraine's National Guard. And he's met a lot of the recruits who've come to join Azov.
You only need one of these guys to kind of go home and commit an act of terrorism to then really damage the reputation of Ukraine. In the eyes,
Well, it seems like they have a whole fucking army of white nationalists over there.
They're taking it seriously now.
No, yes.
Here's the thing.
Later, Robin, the Swede I met.
Because I've lived long enough to see all this. So, here's why it's not a good idea for America to drop weapons on Ukraine. America dropped weapons in the Middle East to fight against Russia, and that's how we got the Taliban. Ultimately, that's how 9/11 happened. America dumped a bunch of weapons in Afghanistan train up all the people over there, only to leave and let the Taliban take it over. Same thing's going to happen there. Same thing with Iraq. Iran. You go back to Iran. The revolution was implemented over there. Iran in the 70s and 60s, it was very progressive. It was, people were dressed just like we are, you and me, going about our lives like that. Until a big fucking revolution happened, and then inspired by espionage, and now it is what it is today. This is all just coming from my memory, though. You have to actually look into it and read up on it to get the full details, you know. And the same thing's probably going to happen with Ukraine as we keep giving them more and more weapons over there. Like, we don't care who they're going to. Just the fact that they're fighting against one of America's enemies. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the social climate of that country just gets sent back 50 years from now, from today. I wouldn't be fucking surprised at all. The way the Catholic Church is moving in on Poland and creating a whole different social climate over there, I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing just happens to Ukraine in the next 10 years.
At that festival, wrote me that he was going to the front lines to join the fight. With recruits like this, it's little wonder that U.S. officials see Azov as a threat. Experts point out that the pace of white supremacist terrorism has intensified, with new incidents.
Yeah, they're not talking about it now, though.
22
The
gunned down
country's
at a
fighting against
Walmart
one of our
in El
enemies.
Paso, Texas. 2 killed near a synagogue in Halle, Germany. 9 more in an attack on 2 shisha bars near Frankfurt. And a series of arrests exposing far-right terror plots across the US and Europe. One tally reported an increase of 320% in such attacks in Western countries between 2014 and 2019.
Я знаю, я вірю, я переконаний, що ми готові до боротьби, що ми готові бути сміливими і сильними, що ми готові перемагати. Бо за нами Україна, а перед нами наша остаточна велика перемога. Слава Україні! Героям слава! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам! Україна! Понад усе! Україна! Понад усе! Україна! Понад усе!
Well, that was educational. And that, you know, and again, Russia surprisingly has its own fucking Nazi problem, which is ironic considering how many Russians were killed by German Nazis in World War II when they invaded. God damn it, GoPro, what the fuck? I swear to God. The errors on this thing is getting out of control. can't do this when I'm painting. Alright, a little palette cleanser until then. Get some music back on. I gotta let my stupid GoPro figure out what it's going to do with itself here. But yeah, this whole Russia-Ukraine thing has just made me realize just how utterly useless the idea of having these nation states are. Shouldn't be in America, shouldn't be in Ukraine, we're all on fucking Earth. I think one of the things that will help it is the just taking religion and throwing it in the trash bin of history. You can't prove something without resorting to some ancient text. And then you don't have any proof of anything. You don't have any good ideas. Traditions are just peer pressure from dead people. Social pressures on who you should be and how you should live is just utterly useless. And just be fucking pro-human. What the fuck is going on with this? Fuck this. There, just turn that audio off for now. I think that'll help too. Okay. And I record again. Okay, repair the file, sure. Can you repair it? Good. Alright, let's try this again. Leaves, lots of leaves everywhere. What shall my dinner be today? Shall be meatloaf. Meatloaf and mashed potatoes. Love me some mashed potatoes. This whole conflict is about money, though. It's just, let's make that clear, too. Expanding power and money. Like, I find it so fucking bizarre that anyone would buy any, like, moral justification for Putin's invasion. I'm trying to denazify Ukraine. No, you're not. Why? You don't give a shit. No one gives a shit. None of our leaders give a shit about that. Want the land and the resources. I wish these fucking people would just be honest about it, because all they have is like these really young people, these young kids who buy into this shit, and that's about it. I just can't help but picture any adults buying into this. Actually, never mind. Yes, I can. And then on here you have people saying like, oh, it's good that Russia's invading Ukraine. He's a man that protects his people and he believes in the traditional Catholic Christian values. And it's just like, fuck you. Fuck you. Right in the butt. Fuck your Catholic Christian values. They're completely empty and meaningless. The justification of all the misery in the fucking world ever existed. Okay. Really? It didn't even last a fucking minute. Alright, that's it. I guess I just gotta... Again, once again, is it the SD card? I'm gonna switch out the SD card. This damn thing keeps fucking crashing on me. It's really putting a delay and a cramp in my style. I gotta sit here and let it figure itself out.
Is something wrong?
It's my GoPro keeps crashing. It'll be recording, right? And it'll still say it's recording when it's, and all the while it's not recording. It just like freeze framed on one of the videos. Like it's having trouble processing the file, so I'm gonna try to switch out this SD card and see if that will work now. Alright, it's off. Actually, let's turn it on, turn it off again. Make sure it doesn't have any files to fix. Nope, okay. Switch this shit out and see what, if it'll work better with a smaller SD card.
Oh, that sounds neon.
At least one that hasn't been used and formatted a lot. All right. Once again, let's do this. Really? Alright, I guess now I'll just try switching over the resolution and see if that'll help. Just did it right away almost. Yeah, it just fucked up. Oh, maybe it didn't. Nope, there you go, 16 seconds in. Alright, let's try this again. Guess I have no choice. Just gotta figure this shit out.
Krister told me you talked about that a few times.
So right now, in the United States, I think it's this month or next month, Roe v. Wade is going to be repealed by the Supreme Court, which means states are now allowed to ban abortion outright, fully, if they want to. And the way the Supreme Court is right now, they could very well decide to repeal their decision that allowed me to be married, which would mean that states on their own could decide whether or not they want to recognize my marriage. or just nullify it. And since we got married in Ohio, it'll be up to Ohio then. If the Supreme Court rules against gay marriage. So I could very well be, within the next 4 or 8 years or whatever, I could very well be just divorced. I guess we're just gonna delete that file. Yeah, let's see, let's pick one of the longer ones. I realized too I was on the wrong setting for view. That's gonna be annoying to fix, but oh well. Fixed it now. Maybe that's what was creating the issues too. Alright. Let's try this again. Yeah, I mean we could say that we're married, but here's a lot of things that we lose from that, right? And it really pisses me off that we have to break it down this way, because it makes it seem like it's, you know, doesn't mean anything. Well, I mean, kind of. You don't need a marriage certificate to say that, you know, you love a person or you care about a person, of course. But the way our system's designed in this country, it's not going to change. Marriage decides inheritance, for instance. If I die, my first husband will get everything I have. Period. Unless I say otherwise in a will. But ideally, that's how it naturally will be. What's ended up happening, a lot of times, if you look it up, if there's like a gay married couple, husband dies, the family you didn't know that you didn't know he has, will come in and just take everything. All the inheritance, pensions, 401ks, money, everything technically can go to the next of kin. It's not even a technicality about it. It's that they can just come in and take it. The court will not recognize your relationship as anything other than a friendship. Even if there's a will, courts historically rule against those wills. And so, you know, cousin John, twice removed, can come in and just take the house if it's in his name. In some cases. You know, cars, computers, just picture all the stuff that you have that would go towards your significant other. Hospital decisions. If I was hospitalized, my first husband can make a decision for me if he needs to. He can come in and actually visit me. Without the recognition of marriage, he can just be denied outright. Tax benefits. Because we're married, the tax bracket is larger for us. So we're allowed to keep more of our money for ourselves as a couple and use that. Without those marriage rights, we don't have those benefits anymore. I mean, all of a sudden we have to pay more in taxes. So yeah, it's a fuckery all around whenever that gets denied. It's not even like the sad thing is, it's not even a big deal. The only ones making it a big deal are these religious fuckwads and traditionalists who get paid, for the most part, to promote the idea that somehow me and my husband's existing harms you in some way. In fact, right now, I know you're almost an adult. You're 17, from what I remember you saying in your case. But yeah, even right now, like, there's talks of like calling anyone who talks about their status as being either queer or in a gay relationship or anything as a groomer. There are people out there that would say I was grooming you, or grooming anyone who's under 18 because I'm talking about me being bisexual and married to a man or whatever. They're eliminating the meaning of that term to mean anything they want it to mean. It just basically just means, you know, anti-gay in their case. Okay, we managed to survive 4 minutes in a recording here. But yeah, that is how my marriage can be repealed. It can be brought up to the Supreme Court. They can decide, like, yeah, we were wrong about this ruling back in 2014 or 2016, whatever it was. And next thing you know, we'll get a notice in the mail that our marriage is nullified. Christians everywhere will get to celebrate. Well, yeah, you don't have to worry because you're straight. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to worry about any of that shit. You don't have to worry about being denied an apartment or a house. We've been denied an apartment. We've been denied the sale of a car because of our status. Who knows, like, how much career-wise my husband was denied because of his queer status. We'll never know for sure. Because people, of course, know they can't just come out and say, we don't hire gays here, right? They just have to find reasons to keep you as a contractor and not hire you. Or fire you. Any job, considering we live in a state that's at will. An at-will state means they can fire you and they don't have to tell you the reason. That's one way to get around that shit. They can just say work performance issues. And he asks, well, what specifically work performance wise was I was bad at. Don't have to tell you. You show up late a few times. And, they'll make exceptions for you over other employers. Other employees, I mean. Yep, there it goes. Yeah, I don't think we even bother or will ever bother with like a proper wedding ceremony. Because I just had this feeling that my family on either side would not support it in any way. Because ideally, most of the times when it comes to marriage, families come together and they help front the bill for like renting out a gazebo or tent or whatever, having a DJ and a ceremony and everything. To me, it just seems like there's too many people who would not go for that in this case. So yeah, we'll never have a ceremony. I also didn't like the idea of just, you know, paying all that money to have a wedding ceremony and going into debt to pay that off. I don't know, it just seemed kind of silly. Take out a loan for a wedding ceremony, like a $30,000 loan, and that could have been a car or down payment on a house. No thanks.
His family is in mental hospitals or they are in prisons.
Yeah. Yeah, Christor's in a unique situation compared to most people too.
His mom, brother, and sister are unstable.
Yep, exactly. It's unfortunate. Alright. I gotta get dinner done for myself here. Wrap it up for now. Probably well, hopefully tomorrow, yeah, as soon as I get all the stuff I have in mind done, including mowing the lawn and all that. I'll start an art stream. It'll be a long-ass art stream. I finish inking this, at least. Alright, thanks for coming by, Heather and Lazy. I'll see you later. Yep, time to head out. It's been a little session here, you know, it's time to get ready for dinner and then ready for the job. I'll be back on Saturday probably.